when Gwendolyn has to do content creation on Friday, all of the goodness is breaking loose. Let me just go ahead and say that. Hello, welcome. It's Friday. As they say, it's Friday, not Friday, it's Friday. So let me do this because this may very well go a whole hour because we gonna talk about some stuff today. We gonna talk about maybe not all of it, but most of it. So let me play the intro and then we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Girl Listen. It is Friday. Yes, I know. It's Friday, and today's topic is going to be interesting. That it will be. We have my fellow Virgo here, Raine Love. We will introduce her because I don't want to shortchange her greatness. We will introduce her, but I want to talk about a couple of things before we get started because I like how she gets herself together. It's TGIFF. That G is Fire Fridays. Yes, that it is. We got this show coming on first because it is live, streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, we got a poll going. We have a poll going. So you're free to go there as well, Raine Love. Free to go there as well. But the poll question, make sure I get it right. Should folks who want a traditional life have their own dating site?
Yes.
So that's the poll. So leave your thoughts. We already have some people who have answered. Leave your thoughts. I would like to know because I think it makes sense to me, but we'll leave that one towards the end. And although I don't have any of my merch, we do have the Veiled Vault. You can get your favorite podcast merch. Ladies Listen Up, Girl Listen, Small Biz Bites. You can get it at the Veiled Vault. Just go to ℏjack.com to get your little something so that you are working the way you want to work. Oh, hey, Raine, I think we lost you, ma'am.
Give me 1 second.
Oh, okay.
I'm just, as you go through your things, I'm just going to get this thing.
Well, let me keep going through the news. So as we're going through the news, we do have some stuff going on. It's going to be the birthday. Birthday's coming up. Lord willing, the birthday's coming up. So we've got another special edition. Let me go back and run that back. Let me run it back really quick. Special edition 49. Is that you? Is that you, 49? And here's what's so great about that conversation. Next Friday, because I'm not going to be here on my birthday. Hello. But tonight on Indie Suit Media, we are talking about aging. You're not a day past 50. We're talking about aging. So you want to tune in at 7:00 Eastern on Indie Suit Media. That is on YouTube where we have the interactive chat. But feel free to also jump in on Facebook or Twitch. You can go there as well. And I should probably get on Twitch and get that going. I should probably do that because I'm never ever over there. But the interactive chat on YouTube is where life is lifing. That goes down. So I highly suggest that you guys go ahead and get into that. So I'm excited because, when I go on these morning walks, doing my 5, 8, sometimes 9 miles, my brain starts to get a lot of ideas. It's very therapeutic for some of us. Just to sort of walk in nature and let the sun kiss our skin, let the brain does what it do, and get our minds right, get our souls settled, get re-energized if need be. And so I got to thinking, like I always do on these very long walks, about Black women and the state of the Black community. And there's right. Hopefully I can be heard. We just had a power glitch in my house. We literally just had this crazy glitch. The power went out for like a hot second. You know, there is nothing more amazing than working with what what is happening when you have tech issues and what have you. So that's interesting. So let me do this. We are going to get ourselves together and make sure that the power is stable. I knew they talked about like possible thunderstorms, but I don't think that has anything to do with what is happening here. So we are going to be right back. Okay, well, power glitches. We got power glitches happening and everything else. You know, that's the beauty of going live, is it not? That if anything can happen, it's going to happen when you go live. It is going to happen when you go live. So we're going to figure out what all is supposed to go down today at 4 o'clock. God bless it. Oh my goodness. And this is why we always have a few things prepared. Oh my God. Okay. So I believe we're going to get ourselves together. We're gonna work this out. Let me make sure that my guest is doing okay. Let me do that. Oh man. So while I'm checking on my guests, hold on here while I'm checking on my guests. As I was saying before I lost power here, you go on these long walks and everything, and your brain starts thinking, and all of a sudden, ideas come to mind. She's like, I'm frozen. I need to tell that I am back. But you get all these ideas about what's going on in the world and things of that nature. And the idea of just women in general came to me. The fact that we are still treated like second-class citizens, so that came up. And then I've been seeing some videos here and there about Black women, and I just, it is a job. It is a major, major job. I can tell you that, when people say things, all you have to do is sometimes, and I admit to being honest about this, I just want to punch some people in the throat because they don't really wrap their head around another person's experience. And we're going to, oh, hey, Mr. Jackson, you know it? Let me tell you, man, we just lost power for like a hot second. We just lost power. Now I feel as if this is a really good reason to get like another like crazy big battery in this house. I know this is so off topic. I know it is. But shout out to Gary for showing up. He's like, hey, I came in. Something was wrong. Yes, we lost power for a hot second, which means that everything had to get itself together. Caught me off guard. All I saw was like this flicker of the lights. And I thought, is that a bad sign? Yes, it is. It happens to be a bad sign. But I was walking and had this thought about how people don't really look at everyone's experience, and the way that our society is set up, it's jacked up. And let's just take a quick look. And if I will, I'm going to take a quick look at the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese discussion. Forgive me when I say it, but people have been looking forward to Great White Hope. And I mean that. I'm sorry, I mean it. And the fact that you have so many other women in the WNBA who have been wrecking shop for years, but they get overlooked. And a lot is because of this right here. It's right here. That's reality. So I started writing down a number of ideas and recently had lunch with my Virgo counterpart. And I said, sis, we got to sit down and have this conversation because, we got to have this conversation. So let me just talk about today's topic. We're going to bring in Raine Love. I do believe I should be solid. Lord bless me, lose power again. Yeah, we'll just figure it out. We'll figure it out. So today's topic is if Black women would just listen. That is today's topic. That's today's topic. It comes from a variety of places. Most of it is from, again, looking at videos and things and social media. And I don't really take a lot of it to heart because, people have their own experience. God bless them. I'm not judging it. But it's always interesting when they keep coming back to the Black experience as if we are monolithic and everybody has the exact same thing. So before we jump into this conversation, Raine Love, ma'am, how are you? Now that we have power again.
I am doing great. It's Virgo season. My birthday is in 9 days. I'm counting down to the 15th. So I'm excited. Honestly, excited to continue this conversation that we had when we were out. Because we both had some interesting perspectives and two different types of point of views too.
Right?
I'm excited for that.
We did. Now, just to give the audience an idea, and you don't have to share your age. Me, I don't, bother me none. But give the folks a little bit of your background and where you're coming from.
Okay, so I don't mind sharing my age. So I am 25 years young, about to be 26. And I'm coming from my space, my background. Previously, if we're talking about Black women dating community, our opportunities, I'm from Mississippi, so that was a different type of life within itself. Being raised in a predominantly Black area, but going to school with predominantly white people, so that's interesting within itself as well. And then coming down here to Texas, I've been here 8 years, and even just the dating scene, trying to make friends as a Black woman, anything, even just career-wise, being promoted, it's a little bit harder. I'm gonna be honest. And just being here, my experience has been, I'm gonna say, it'll probably sound very stereotypical because a lot of the things that people say about Black women, I've also experienced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, that probably spun you a little bit.
I was like, what the what? What the?
Yeah,
I am here for all of the honest conversations, trust and believe. Here for all the honest conversations. So I'm interested to hear about that. Before we get to our first conversation, our first topic, for me, I am, okay, what's the day, 6?
The 6th, yes.
The 6th. Okay, so yeah, I'm only like 11 days away from my birthday, right? 49, the Lord bless 49. Yes, Lord, that's Lord. So feeling really great. Now I'm coming in where women are starting to get some rights, right? Prime example, the ability to have their own checking and credit. That happened in 1974. And so I came in between two different programs, if you will, in terms of what women should and could do and were able to do. And, you know, I grew up as a 70s, 80s, was hitting all the places in my 20s and the 90s. And, I don't, you know, when it comes to me and my experience as a Black woman, I don't know if I'm not so sure if I can say I experienced some of the stereotypical things. Not just say it like that. And we'll have to compare notes. I'm not really sure if I experienced some of the stereotypical stuff. I'm not really sure, honestly. I mean, I've always had, I don't have a lot of friends. I've had a lot of associates, things of that nature. But I'm also a loner. So for certain things, I'm kind of like, look, I'm good just by myself. So I'm perfectly fine with that. But we're going to see. So let's get started. I want to get right into it. Again, we have a poll going. This is one of our topics here. Should people who want a traditional life, as in traditional husband, traditional wife, trad wife, should they have their own dating site? Like, just do your thing. So here's what I want to start with, because you're on the younger side. You're on the younger side of younging. We're talking about the state of the Black community. So do you believe that Black women are responsible for the healing of the Black community? And it pretty much comes from the fact that women overall appear to be the anchor for any household. Because if the child is sick, the mother gets called. If there's anything happening, if a child wants for anything, the mother typically is the first parent that child goes to. Even if they have same house, like two parents in the same household, or if they're separate, the mother is the person who gets the request for soccer practice uniforms and XYZ field trip. And, you know, it's never just, oh, you should go ask your father, right?
Yeah, ask your dad. They ask their
dad, right? So tell me, do you believe that Black women are responsible for the healing of what some people say, that the Black community is broken, that we don't understand community, we just have all these problems? Let me hear your thoughts on that.
No, I personally do not believe that, because that's a heavy weight to carry for one, I'm gonna say, gender. That's a lot. However, can we contribute to the healing? Of course. But do I feel as though if inside of the Black community and the Black men, if they tell us that the way things are supposed to be traditionally is that the men are supposed to lead, so how do Black men lead in the community healing? You see what I'm saying? Like, how do they lead us into that narrative? So men and women, this is such a hard topic, because yes, women, we can start it. I feel like Black women, we can start the healing. We can say, you know what? Let's all go to therapy. Let's do kumbaya. Let's all talk about our past traumas. But if the Black men don't participate, then half of the community isn't even involved. So are Black women responsible for healing the Black community? No, I don't think it's our responsibility. But I do feel as though if we want to have a better outcome for generations, still here and in the future, we have to take on a responsibility. I don't think that it should be pushed onto us, but I feel like if you want to make a change, you'll pick up some of that responsibility.
I agree with that. This is where if Black women would just listen, because there were, I'll just say some people, because this is general, right?
Right.
I've seen some videos where when they talk about the Black family, the Black household, how the father is the base, the foundation for it. And then if Black women would just listen to what the Black man is saying, then XYZ would happen. And you get this whole deal of, you don't want to listen, you're attitudinal, you don't want to do what you're supposed to do. And I thought, full stop, time out. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people out here who have a lot of trauma. If we had to make it into a monolithic experience, the Black community as a whole has and is continuing to suffer a lot of trauma.
Correct.
Like a lot. And for some people, there are some people, in my opinion, who take the house Negro approach. I am going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that me and mine are taken care of and can grow wherever. And then you have some who are in the field, and it is survival of the fittest. And then even there are some who are like, hey, if I have to sell somebody out to get ahead, then I'm going to do that. I think there's clearly a lot of trauma that we have to wrap our heads around. Is it ever going to happen for everyone to be on the same page? That will never happen for anything.
No.
We're all individuals. Like that's never going to happen. But I keep hearing right?
I need a majority.
I keep hearing this idea that if Black women would be more motherly and like their grandmothers and like my mama, blah, 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 then we wouldn't have some of these issues that we have, because it starts with her. Like, women are supposed to do this, and this.
I just have to raise my hand.
He's like,
Stop. Hold on, wait a minute. When I hear first of all, if I ever hear a man say that, it's an immediate red flag, purple flag, green. It's all the colors flags.
All the colors.
It's all the colors, because back then, your grandmother, she was there out of survival, not because she wanted to, sweetheart. When little Tommy was over there going off having full family households in the same community, she couldn't leave him. She had to stay there. And if even in the Black community, as far as, this is just my perspective, but if you had someone's grandmother going through abuse inside of the Black household, and then of course she had to stay there during those times, they didn't really have the choice, and they're raising Black women, what do you think they're going to teach them? Don't trust no Black man, do everything by yourself, do this, because of what she's going through. And it's happening time and time again that Black women are being taught that narrative, because Black men's actions continue to fall short. Not because the Black woman doesn't want to believe in the Black man, it's because the Black man's actions continue to fall short of what's needed.
Well, let's do our first sidebar, shall we?
All right.
Because in my opinion, there are some men of all ethnicities that are extremely toxic. That toxic masculinity, it is detrimental, and it is awful across the board. And one of those messages that we have seen is that if you're not married by the age of like 25, 26, 30, that you're damaged goods. Matter of fact, you're not happy. You are not happy if you don't have a man.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Let me catch I need to catch. Hold on. Okay. So this is where there are two messages happening in our society for all ethnicities. All right. So granted, I'm a Black chick. I'm only talking about my experience, but this is the same for any other woman, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, women a good number of women, and we don't know the numbers, right? So this is not we ran the survey and so told me this is not that. But we recognize reality. And reality is a lot of women could not get out of their parents' home without some male figure to do things for them. They couldn't own property. They couldn't have their own money. They couldn't have their own checking account, credit card, whatever. So if you want to go someplace, you had to have a spouse.
Correct.
We didn't say it was done out of love. You had to have a spouse, right? So now you get these persons who believe that a woman is not fulfilled or happy or whatever if she doesn't have a male counterpart. We are telling you that's that BS. That's baloney. It's not. There are a lot of women who are extremely happy. Why? Because when women got the right to do stuff and didn't have to have the dead weight and marry into situations that didn't serve them, they found a new wave of independence. They don't need a guy. We don't need a guy. You don't need a partner, period. And we are not damaged goods if we never get married. There are some women who don't want to get married and some who don't want to have kids.
Thanks.
I'm gonna let you speak your piece because you're the Gen Z? Are you Gen Z, right?
You know what? Let me look it up because
she's like, hold up, I need to check it. She's like, let me see where I am in the mix of things.
Okay, yes, I am Gen Z.
Okay.
Every time I hear that, it stresses me out. Because hearing Gen Z, it makes me just sound like, oh yeah, I was here around technology. But I'm like, I remember when my grandmother was writing down directions for me to drive to the corner store or to drive to someone's house. We didn't have GPS. I was there for that. I remember when internet became a thing, AOL, dial-up. I remember that. I remember when iPhones didn't exist. It was only Motorola's and Blackberry. I mean, yeah, Blackberry. So like, what was it?
I had a Kia Sarah. About this big.
Yeah, see, I had the what was it? The Motorola. I had the flip, the slide,
yes.
all the Motorolas. I had all of those. I couldn't get jiggy with the little ball and the Blackberry. I couldn't.
I loved my Blackberry, but
I couldn't do it. So, but yeah, every time I hear Gen Z, that's what I think of. But from my perspective, I feel as though people do put a lot of pressure on you. I would say within inside of the Black community, for me, and this sucks to say, but it is the realization. All of my white friends right now, married and engaged. All of my Black friends, they're the mother of someone's child. And I never see the narrative change.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I feel as though we're raised to be a wife, but not raised to, this is just me from the South. I feel like the grandmothers, mothers, raising women to be a wife, but not teaching you how to actually be a wife. They're teaching you the duties of what to do. Cook, clean, make this, do that. You know, leave him if he's broke. That's it. But they don't tell like, hey, communication, forgiveness. You're gonna need to have this. How can you be nurturing without coddling? How can you be understanding without being a pushover? How can you be assertive without, and staying inside of your femininity and not transitioning over into your masculine? Like, those things are not taught. So it's been a very interesting, I'm gonna say this year alone, I've seen 5 of my white friends get married and have kids with their husbands. And I've been seeing a lot of baby showers with lonely or alone Black women on my, like,
let me give the other, like, clearly I'm different age, different.
Yeah.
When you describe that, what I hear is, because I remember one of the conversations in college was, you go to college to meet your husband. And then, yeah, I get that you're getting a degree. It's a very good chance you're not going to put it to use because you're going to be somebody's mama. And that's the end game.
Wow.
So I have to wonder if some of those young ladies have had the message from their parents, when are you going to get married?
Yeah.
When are you giving me grandkids? And so perhaps in their circle, they are tied into this is a pathway that someone has set forth for me, and I don't feel strong enough, comfortable enough to go against the society grain of not being married by the age of 27.
Yeah.
I have to wonder. Whereas someone else would be like, I don't want that. So for some people to think, oh, those are damaged goods, you're not desirable. It could be on the other hand of, I love myself so much, I don't want to get into some BS, some BS relationship. Now, those who have children, that I put an asterisk beside.
Okay.
Because me, myself, and I talk about this tonight on my show, I believed in abstinence. I was never going to give up the opportunity to live my fullest life for what could be 5, 10, 15 minutes of whatever.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening for me. It was, if there was anything that I believed in saying no to, it was like, and that's going to be a no, partner, because I'm not a gambler and I'm not taking that chance.
Ooh,
no,
that one
not at all. So I have to, I'm wondering if, for some of those people, that could be where we get this whole traditional wife thing from, because you're still doing the June Cleaver type, Donna Reed type stuff, where it's like, honey, I have your dinner. You're rushing to get married, even though perhaps deep inside you're not ready to and you don't want to. I'm just saying. Because, I don't believe women in general get a different message from those who came before. Unless, of course, there's somewhere in the timeline where somebody was always like we like to call them the rich aunties, although a lot of these aunties, we're not rich. We can take care of ourselves. But I have to wonder if the aunties were the mavericks, the ones who went against the grain. And that niece is like, man, if I could be like my auntie Joe, if I could be like my auntie, Jarita, if I could be like my auntie Dolores, who's always like kicking ass and taking names. I wish I could do that, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always that one who said, I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing and follow that traditional program. And then, depending on the family event, there's that 1 or 2 or 3 family members saying, yeah, but Dolores ain't doing nothing. Dolores says that's why she did this and she ain't got this and because they put all the stock in having a partner.
Yep. And you want to know what's crazy? Crazy enough. I was speaking with one of my friends today. So my friend, she's 33. She's 33, turning 34. And she was very sad today. And she was telling me, she was like, you know what? I don't have kids. I don't have a man. And I was like, whoa. And I went down this spiel of why are we taught that our value is wrapped up in other people? Why as women, why are we taught that our value is wrapped up in what we do for other people and how we provide? Why? So I had to go into a whole spiel with her and say, a man is not gonna elevate your worth. If anything, you're gonna latch onto him so badly that your confidence in your self-worth is gonna be deemed on his mood, which is not healthy.
Nope.
And unfortunately, those are the types of relationships that I see inside of my generation. You can be black, white, purple, yellow, it don't matter. Yeah. A lot of it is wrapped inside of, okay, I'm lonely, you're lonely, let's just be together. And even if it's toxic, we're going to stay together because I don't want to be lonely without you. So I'm not saying, hey, y'all, sorry, my kids are barking. I'm not seeing a lot of relationships now that are built on a strong foundation. Everything's built off of either desperation, insecurities, loneliness, abandonment. All of those things are causing people to make decisions that get them into relationships that they're really not ready for, or that they even want to be inside of. And then you look around and you think, you know what, I am damaged goods because this is the only person that wants me.
Yeah.
You
You start buying into the brand. It's like, Let's not buy into that.
Yeah.
But this is perfect. I love how you give me like the best segues. And again, we have a poll going. We got a poll going about people who want the trad. I'm gonna say the trad life.
Trad life. All right.
So let's talk about the trad wife life, right? We have already alluded to it. This is the whole idea of the woman is, I'll just say, submissive, and guy is head of household, and it is Donna Reed. I hate to tell some people it is 2024. Okay, it is 2024. So we said this before. Women could not get out of their situation because of how the laws were set up. Do I believe that there are a number of people who got married because they love their spouse? I most certainly know it. And yes, that existed. I also am aware that a number of women across the board got into a relationship because in order for them to do anything, it was required that a man, either the father, the brother, the uncle, the guy they're dating, whomever, signed off on what they did. You had to go, like if you want to go get a car, it was like, and did so-and-so approve this for you? We were property.
Yeah.
Women were second-class citizens. Now, I say we are still second-class citizens because we can't make decisions for our own body. I'm not going to go there today, though.
Yeah.
But women were property. Women were property and treated as such. So when people talk about, I'm looking for the woman who doesn't have career goals, who just wants to have kids and take care of my house. This is our poll. I believe those people should have a dating site.
I agree.
So you can find the person, kind of like, what was that? Madison. Who was that? Ashley Madison? Ashley Madison. So if you want to cheat, you go to Ashley Madison, find somebody to cheat with. I believe if that's what you're looking for, then go to places that have what you're looking for versus meeting someone who is clearly beyond what you want. This person is independent, outspoken, confident, solid without your presence. Why meet that person, date that person, and then put them in a cage to smother them? Now, I know some people look to do that. I know there are some people who just want to do that. Well, I conquered this person. I broke this person. That does exist. I believe, in terms of the Black relationship, I don't. I do believe there are some women who want it. I believe that young men, are still taught that all they have to do is show up and some woman will just fawn over them. And those are lies.
That I agree. I don't know why for my generation, men think that they are God's gift on earth. They're like, we're the prize, we're the princesses. I need you to treat me like I am the queen. And it's very sassy. They don't want to chase anything. And I think that for me, I've experienced this. It just feels like they lost the nature of, I'm going to go on the hunt. I want to find a woman and I want to experience this challenge. And I get to go on the, do pursuing her and courting her. They don't want to do that anymore. They're like, girl, you take me out to eat. You come pick me up. Or if it's not that, they'll be like, well, how about we just chill? Let's just get to know each other. I'm not chilling with nothing. I'm chilling. I can chill at home with my dogs.
Right.
And watch what you want to watch and not be uncomfortable that you're going to try to, do something where I'm going to be like, goodbye, get out of here. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Now, for the traditional wife, I believe that, yes, they need to have their own website. But you bringing it up, I don't know if you've heard on TikTok or Instagram about the ballerina wife.
No.
Okay, I'll give you a brief little summary. You should look into it because this goes exactly along with what you're talking about. It's the ballerina wife. It's a white lady, and she got married to this man. She used to be a ballerina. great ballerina, beautiful dancer. And she now is a stay-at-home mom, I think of 2 or 3 children, lives on a farm, and she does not get to dance. And they call her, like the farmhouse ballerina, because all she does is dance in the farmhouse. But she can't do anything. And you see it in her videos how much she suppressed herself to be inside of that marriage and to be a traditional wife, to stay at home with her kids. And she literally killed off her dreams of being a ballerina to be with that man. And he gets to live his full-fledged dream of owning his land, having the kids, having the farm, cattle, being a cowboy. And she doesn't get to be that ballerina. And there was a video of them for their anniversary. She was like, only thing I want to do is go to Paris. And when I said the internet was raving over this, this man, she was like, oh, I hope he was handing her the gift. She's like, I hope it's a tickets to Paris. She's like, oh, I'm hoping. He gifted her, oh my God, what is it called? It was like an egg holder that she wraps around her waist for when she goes and picks the eggs from the chickens.
Oh, I thought you were also like Fabergé, some Fabergé eggs.
So everybody was like, what are the tickets to London in the what's going on? He was like, yay. And you can hear when she opened it up, she was like, yay. This. And I was like, wow. But you can see how she conformed to the traditional wife life. But I'm assuming that she signed up for it thinking like, yes, my husband supports me. But in actuality, it was, I'm going to have to give up myself to support him.
This is what I go back to, because like when I think about some of the messages I received in terms of going to college, not from my parents, but when people would say, hey, you'll go to college, you'll find your spouse at college. The whole deal was, so you've gone here, you have paid for a degree that you're not going to use. And the whole idea was, well, yeah, you may be a woman who has some smarts, but they're not marrying you for the smarts, and they're not marrying you for your career aspirations. The idea is, hey, she's good stock, so my kids won't be stupid, right?
Yep.
Like that's about the gist of it. It goes back to, I want to take one of the most beautiful birds and cage that bird and just literally squeeze out all of the essence of what made that person. Now, there are some people who want that life. Happy for you. And if I may, when I think about how religion in the Black community impacts our Black relationships, you get a lot of the guy is the head of the household and women are to be submissive based on XYZ Bible verse, yada, 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 yada. But everything is
you want to know what's funny though? Because I grew up a preacher's kid. I
understand.
Even in the Bible, the definition of submission, of course, the world has perverted it. Because what it says in the Bible, they not following the right book. I don't know what, because the Lord never told me to sit down and shut up. The Lord never told me that. Okay.
Trust me, I don't subscribe to traditional religion. It is not where I thrive. Okay. But I do look at it. I do look at it from the outside, and I cannot help but look at the messaging and also some of the damage. I should say the damage that has been done. What is that movie? Was it Honk If You Love Jesus? Is that what it was?
Honk If You Love Jesus. I ain't heard of that one, Jesus.
I want to look it up for real quick, because it pretty much talked about is it Sterling Brown and the young lady?
Is it a comedy?
I call it satire.
Okay, it says a comedy. Let me see if this is what you're talking about. Let's see this here. Hold on, is it blurry?
It's blurry.
It has.
It's about the pastor and the pastor's wife.
Yes.
And how they're trying to revamp his church because there is a scandal about him fooling around with some young men parishioners, if you will.
Oh.
And but all the time, like he's in the pulpit preaching about, homosexuality and this, that, and the other. And she's pretty much just doing everything she can to keep up the appearances, knowing that there are problems in this marriage, right? Knowing that there are problems with
Regina Hall.
Regina Hall. Thank you for giving her name. Thank you for giving her name. So yeah, and I thought, these are the things that we see that women are just taught to just deal with whatever is happening and keep up the appearances because it's about not sharing your dirty laundry. But I keep going back to that is part of an older program.
I agree.
And depending on when you're born, depending on your parents, your grandparents, you have a decision, a choice to either keep going with that old program or not. I did not choose that program. My grandmother was like, cutting your hair is against God. It's a sin to cut your hair. I was like, my granny, ain't nobody believing that. Ain't nobody even trying to hear that. Are you kidding me right now? But we see it. We see it. What was it like with the Mormons? That they have the longest hair possible. They can't show their ankles. They wear these old, prairie dresses, like all of this. And yet and still, Mormon husbands, or certain ones, I should say, typically the preachers, whatever, have like 14 wives, and some of them wives are 12 years old. Please explain to me how that makes sense to anybody. But again, it's the idea of property.
Yep.
It's the idea of property. But there are some women, there are some Black women, and I don't, there are women, period, who want to be kept. I think it's perfectly fine if you want to be kept. To each his own. There are some folks who just, they dream of and have always wanted to be somebody's mother. That's great. I don't want that. Don't want it. It's just,
no, I'm sorry.
Not even, it's like,
I'm on the fence. I'm gonna be honest, because even with my dogs, I'm like, really? As much as I love my dogs, but I also love the fact that, and this is gonna sound horrible, but if tomorrow I was like, you know what, I don't want a dog anymore, I could post them on Facebook and be like, hey, super sweet dogs,
so bad.
Like super sweet dogs, they're super playful, they love kids, da 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 da. You can't do that to your child.
Because pets are property. People like to say what they want about their pets. Pets are property. I get that people feel some kind of way, and I understand the love of a pet, but pets are still property. Understand that.
When I tell you, my dogs, both of them just got sick. They both had allergies and a cold. I had to go to the doctor. Both of them, it's like kids. If I want to travel, I have to find a babysitter.
You gotta find a sitter.
If I'm gone from the house too long, I know they haven't used the bathroom and they haven't ate. I still have to do stuff. So they're my kids.
I understand. It is another mouth to feed. It's property, but property that also requires a lot of care. Correct. So let me go to here's that connection with the conversation. Here is that connection, because it's like, you're not like my grandmother. Women don't cook, clean, or keep house like my grandma used to. Ooh, buddy.
Let me drink on.
You want? Let's just go ahead and get it to. Hold on.
Cheers to us.
Okay. All right. So let me say this. Do I love to cook? I do. My father was a private chef. We've said that. I inherit some of his natural skill. That is true. However, my father cooked for my mother up until, I would say, about a month and a half before he died. When he could no longer stand on his own, he stopped cooking for her. Okay? Even after she retired, and she retired first, he came home after his day at the work and fixed a meal for his wife. So I didn't see a woman doing all the. Now, mother was good for cooking pancakes and fried chicken. That was it. We didn't really want much else from mother. We were like, perhaps Pop should be cooking this meal. When she would go to church and give her sermon, he had a Sunday dinner for his wife. So that's what I saw that men do for their wives.
Okay.
That's my model. But when people say this, I immediately go to, let's flip it. Are you doing all the things that your grandfather did for your grandmother? Because again, if you want the traditional wife, you have to provide.
Yeah.
And I don't believe some of these dudes are providing the way their grandfathers provided. I'm not seeing that, but I could be wrong. I'm gonna let you have it.
Gee, you're not wrong in the slightest. But I don't know if men aren't providing like their grandfathers used to because of the economy, or if it's because they genuinely don't want to. That's my only problem that I'm having here, because I can understand the economy perspective, because it's like, hey, things are higher now. When my granddad was living back in the day, you know, they could buy a house with 2 nickels and a dime. So, you know, versus right now, you're getting an apartment for 1 bedroom and $1,500.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a little different, as well as, you know, as far as even just the courtship of it all, because going out to eat for 2 people now, you're spending $100.
Okay. So can we flip it? Now keep in mind the life of your average Black family back then wasn't going out and bling bling and everything else, right? So let's just say that they weren't living this elaborate lifestyle. So in terms of, I'm going to say, cost of living, it could very well be the same.
Okay.
It could be. However, those men, those grandfathers, from my understanding, were still out there doing the do. They were out there bringing in, working the 2 and 3 jobs. I'm not saying that guys don't want to do multiple jobs, things of that nature. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that if we want to compare apples to apples, cost of living, yeah, it's not like they had like the biggest house. I mean, we're talking about what, 3 rooms, maybe? Yeah. There were like 8 people in that house.
Even now, you barely can get an apartment with your job. You got to make 3 times the rent, and 3 times the rent is $6,000. Who the hell making $6,000? For me as a 25-year-old, I'm gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just getting into the swing of life, like, you know,
right?
You know,
right.
So I can only imagine the stress of saying, okay, let me buy my girl a house. Granddad could go and buy his wife a house if he wanted to, because the house was 2 cents.
Right? But is it okay? But okay, so I go back to it though. If you are trying to relive in your mind this nostalgic time period, that means you got to come on the come up. Like, you really got to be out there trying to figure out, how do I make this happen? Because again, the whole part of the trad life is that, yes, I'm staying at home, but you're providing. And now you're not providing.
Yeah. And see, that's the problem too. I feel like a lot of them is providing financially. They feel as though it takes over providing in any other area. So they're just like, okay, if I give you the money, then there's nothing else that I need to do with inside this relationship. We don't need to talk. We don't need to. There's nothing else is needed for me, because I handed you the money. Take care of my kids and go cook in the kitchen. That's what I've received when men talk about this. There's a certain level of, it's a transaction.
Well,
not a desire or saying, you know what, I take pride in taking care of my family. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's put on the woman to where it's okay, this is a transaction. I need you to take care of kids. You be at home, and then I go and work. I come home to a good meal, clean house, and I'm going to bed. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, dudes, they're not going to work 2-3 jobs to keep it. For a girl, for a woman, they're not doing it. They don't even want to do it for themselves. They're not doing that. They will be broke and miserable before they sit there and be like, you know what, I'm gonna work 3 jobs to keep my girl happy. You got some rare ones out there. But I'm saying, for me, in this from 21 to 29, it doesn't exist. The gap, I've never seen it. Maybe that's just me.
When I was in New York, before I got married, the guys that I met there, I would say that there was probably one who was what I would put in the box of wanting that traditional life. kind of thing. But he didn't, in my opinion, work hard enough for it. I don't know if he's met anybody, because it's just not that important to me. I mean, we're talking like years ago. But at the moment, it was, you could have it if you would put energy into it versus coveting someone else's relationship. Like, you could have your own.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to this. You can ask people to do something you won't even do in return. So if you want to live this nostalgic life of Donna Reed and June Cleaver and whatever else, the Waltons and whatnot, then you have to bring the real deal. And there are a number of people who are not willing to bring the real deal. Like that's just like, so it's not going to happen for you. But more importantly, why would you even feel this sort of nostalgia for it? I think it's the coddling and it's the BS message that all you have to do is show up and somebody will fawn over you. That's not how that happened, kid. Because if it's going to be transactional, you got to bring your part to the table. You don't have your part, we don't have a deal.
But you want to know what's crazy? So on your end, I'm hearing your perspective, but on my end, a lot of the guys now, they're like, well, I can just pay a maid to do that. I can have somebody cook all my food for me. I can have
an escort too.
So then, yeah, exactly. So then they're like, so what do women really do besides stress men out? And why would we want to get married if she's only going to take half? And then I look at them and laugh because I'm like, she's taking half of what? You're broke.
You're broke.
You know? You don't have it. Like, you literally have no assets. I'm confused.
So that sounds like another conversation. If the whole entire deal, like, why even go into a marriage with the idea of, if I get married, you're going to take half of what I get. I'm sorry. The whole idea of being one is to be one. But since you coming in there with the idea of I'm going to get divorced, and just don't get married, kid.
Don't get married. You already thinking about
for you.
You already thinking about getting divorced before you even get married.
That's crazy talk.
That is crazy.
That's insane.
That's like saying you're going to lose the game before you even gave it a try. That's crazy. And putting it in the man's perspective, you going to the Super Bowl and saying, you know what, might as well call it a wrap. Y'all ain't
right. I'm not going to win the Super Bowl. Okay, so I know this is one part of it. So then I got to think. So men who feel that way clearly have no idea how to hold or create a relationship, like how to truly build a bond with somebody.
Correct.
Clearly.
But that's not, I feel like that's for me, the father not teaching a man how to be, I would say, be a man and properly provide and actually have that side of themselves, to be a husband. But also, I know that that's something that also falls on the mother, because if the mother takes on the masculine role, she's not teaching the soft side of that balance.
Help me here. So I don't understand this masculine and feminine thing. Like, what is that? I'm not getting it. Call me 𝐿𝐴𝐥𝐿. Help me out here. Give me a quick lesson, because I'm not understanding what any of that means right now.
Okay, so you have the masculine that's more so like, I'm gonna work more physical labor jobs. Men tend to be more aggressive. Or, like what men do as far as like, men are more of the ones that are into sports and into cars and into the like masculinity. And then the femininity is what people are like, okay, well, yeah, girls, they love pink and they like this and they, like all the soft stuff. That's when you're hearing about it generic. What I'm talking about is balancing your two sides, because there's certain sides of you to where you have to activate another energy within inside of yourself. Like, if I'm trying to be nurturing, I don't think of a man immediately when I think of the word nurture. I'm gonna be honest.
Really? So before you go forward, this is all about communication, right? So all I heard was somebody out there then created some BS message that gives people who don't know how to take care of their emotions and are not emotionally intelligent, that they are allowed to be brutes because they are masculine. And that women are soft. And if they have any interest in any kind of physical labor, like construction or working with their hands, then they're not.
They're masculine.
That's a BS right there.
Yeah, no. And
I go beyond.
when it comes to things that people like and people putting labels on it as far as masculine and feminine and saying like, oh well, you're more tomboyish because you like this, because that is the thing. Like when I used to play basketball, they were like, oh, you're a tomboy because I like to play basketball. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? I just like to play basketball. But that's just always been the trend. I'm gonna say Gen Z stresses me out because, as you know, I'm a part of the, what is it? Oh my God. They, them, it generation. So we have a lot more, I'm gonna say, confusing ups and downs as far as titles and what's this and what's that. Everybody's trying to find a box to fit in versus just living. That makes sense? So everybody wants to have a title onto something. So it's like, oh, well, if you do this, you're feminine. If you do this, you're masculine. If you do this,
well, maybe we just shouldn't have boxes. Like screw them boxes.
Just live.
I'm team. Just do what you got to do, because here's the deal. This is why we have the issues we have right now in terms of education. That young girls get baby dolls and easy bake ovens, and if a young man who loves texture and fabric starts to sew, then it becomes, oh my God, you're so feminine. This is like sewing. These things have no gender.
Yeah.
They have no gender, like none whatsoever. Like there's nothing attached to it. And you getting to be, no offense here, an asshole because you're a guy, that's BS. No.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I was like, I'm not understanding this whole feminine, masculine thing. So I'm thinking, I'm sorry, we do something different?
No,
doing something different.
That's what they say for us now. That's identifying things. It's like, ooh, you walking in your masculine.
Are you serious? Clearly my Asian showing here. Clearly my Asian
like, oh my God, I'm loving my feminine era. That's yes.
So I have research to do. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you have some research to do. Because we can go back and forth about this masculine femininity topic. Even when it comes to, I just had this conversation with a young man about him raising his son, because I was like, why is this classified as masculine and this isn't? Why are you telling your son this versus that? Like just basically trying to challenge his thought process. Because I'm like, I understand the way that your father, taught you things and the way your mother taught you things, but see how those things that were taught to you affected you personally, and revamp them to teach your son in a better way, in a healthy way. So he was like, you know what? I understand your perspective. So
generational trauma.
You gotta shift those things, because you're fine because you learn how to work with your trauma, but why continue on the same thing to your son? Teach him a different way,
right?
So, it's look. That's another conversation. We got a lot.
Really? So it's like, what? What else? I'm not understanding what this is about. All right, so let you start with this. Do Black women, because again, like clearly the idea that Black women should just shut up and listen and do as a man says, for a number of us, is not going to work. It's not working. It's not working. It's never going to work. And I have to do this little sidebar over here, because Black women, as my friend Josie Pickens say, we are the mules of the earth. As I told you, I find it so bizarre when I meet a fellow Black woman and she says, I have imposter syndrome. I don't know how you had it. You out here breaking barriers. You setting the tone. How are you the pro? Like, please enlighten me on that right there. Because that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, I don't get it. It doesn't even
register.
It does not register. It does not. Not even for all the things that Black women do on a consistent basis. Ain't no way in the world anybody could ever tell me that I'm the imposter. Seriously? Really? So with that, I say, when people talk about what a Black woman has to go through, they have all these ideas of how we could be better if you would just do this, if you would just do, and this is why you guys don't have. I said it, I'm going to punch somebody in their throat. Because you don't even begin to understand. And it could go as far back as our history allows it to go. And the way that we have been treated time and time again as an other, or as an exotic or something to be observed in a zoo, or that they throw on these overall sexual labels on this that never existed. Like that's just that is that. So when I think about this question, do we as Black women have more opportunities to pursue our dreams? How do you feel?
I feel like it's what do they call it? I can't remember the phrase, but it just feels like a facade to a sense.
You do? Really? A facade? What?
Yeah. Because it's like, yeah, you have the opportunity, but remember, you're gonna have to work 10 times as hard to get it. And then when you get it, we're gonna make you feel like you don't deserve it. And then as you fight through that battle of feeling like you don't deserve what you received, now we're gonna make you lower yourself. You know, like, so it's like, you get the opportunity, but what does the opportunity come with? Yes, Black women, we have more opportunities to pursue our dreams, and you know, like, we're able to do more things, but it comes with so much BS on the back end that you're just like, you know what? I might as well be generic. I might as well be mediocre. If you decide, because you have the illusion that we have the dream. But even when it comes down to, like, I've listened to Black women's stories as far as owning their own businesses and, you know, pursuing their own things. And they're saying, you know what, it's 10 times as hard for me to get a manufacturer to work with me. It's 10 times harder for me to get a business loan. It's 10 times harder for me to get all these things. So we have the opportunity, but guess what? You're going to have to work 10 times harder every single time to make that opportunity worth something to even get to your dreams. So it feels like a facade.
Oh, okay. Now, you know, I'm going to take my mentor approach to say, can't nobody make you feel any kind of way. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out there first. Because again, do we recognize that it is harder for us? Yes, we know that Black women, and I want to say the last statistic that we are 60, is it 66 cents for every $1 that a white man makes? I want to say that could be the number. I may need to check it to get the latest, greatest numbers. So we know that we make less. We know that we have these tropes about the angry Black woman. She has an attitude. She is hard to manage. She is hard to work. We have all these things at the exact same time. There is also the trope of the mammy, that a Black woman is so nurturing and so motherly and will take you under her wing. And they put it into this context of, you get to choose one of two pathways. You're either going to be somebody's Aunt Jemima, or you could play Jezebel and be somebody's other, right? Yeah. And then there's this whole idea of you can just be that person. You know, I'll go ahead and say, okay, so Harriet Tubman, I'm out here freeing the people, put my life on the line. So I am older than you. I mean, I can be your mama.
Yeah.
literally could be your mama. So I understand what you're saying. I know that it has never been easy for us, and easy is a word, even when we had our own, and we think about the multiple Black communities that have been bombed, erased, flooded, because we had our own. To break up the community, to break up the village. At the exact same time, I cannot help.
Playing devil's advocate.
I am. You know, I'm gonna play both sides. Okay. At the exact same time, there is a place where we don't have to subscribe to someone else's idea of who we should be. My friend Josie Pickens, I was rewatching an episode just last Friday, and there was a question that she saw on Instagram about whose imagination we are living in. I don't subscribe to society's imagination. I'm due for a haircut. I already know that. I like wearing my hair as short as possible. I am going to come in. I am kicking down doors when I walk into every room. I know I own that bitch. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. And I am as cocky can be. And what?
Who gonna say? It's like, who gonna say something?
Who gonna say something? Or who is that? Who's that? Who gonna check me, boo? Right? Because here's the deal. We do have choices. Everybody has choices. And I'm going to remove the ethnicity aside apart. I'm not going to pretend like it's not harder for every single person who looks like me. When I walk out of this door, I may not walk back in here.
Yeah, dizzy.
Just because I have this skin and I can't get rid of this. I can't get rid of it, right? So I understand that's already there. I understand that we have centuries of you're less than, but forget the fact that like the people who built this, after y'all stole some land, the labor that was stolen from some other continent that you brought over, right? When I think about Jack Daniels and how they got their stuff together, why? Because some slave owner helped you get your shit together.
Yeah.
We understand that there are these tropes and these stereotypes that will always be there.
Correct.
So I'm not saying that it's not going to be an easy road. I'm not knocking that. But I do believe that there is still a place for us to do whatever it is that we want to do. And we don't have to play that game. I know people are like, you gotta play the game. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You grown.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Now you mentioned Black women and your experience with feeling some of those stereotypes.
Yes.
With Black women. Now, is that tied to your opportunities or is that something separate?
Tied to opportunities.
Oh, wow.
Tied to jobs, tied to friendships, tied to a lot of things. I've, back in the day, they say that they had this thing called girl code. I've never experienced it because girl code has never existed in my generation. People
Where is the girl code?
Where is the girl code? So I've experienced the jealous Black girlfriend, to where every opportunity they get, if you're around a man, I'm gonna say primarily around men, but it could be around other women as well. If they want to make themselves look better, they'll talk down on you. They'll, say like little smart remarks like, "Oh yeah, you remember when you couldn't even pay for this?" And it's like, why was that necessary? That has been a thing. Or I've been in situations working where a Black woman in a corporate world, this was my time when I was working at Richardson. She fought so hard just to get to that position that every Black woman under her suffered. She was extremely rude, extremely mean. She would praise one person in the same email, tear the next person down for everyone to see. And nobody liked her or respected her because she would have other people tell someone like, "Oh, you need to do such and such because this person said it." And it just made you feel sorry for her instead of actually, like, no one feared her or respected her. We felt bad for her because we were like, you don't even see how much that we as Black women working up under you, we want to be a part of your team and push you up, but instead you want to tear us down so we won't make it to your level. You want to keep us here when we're trying to push you up to greater heights so we can continue to grow. Mm-hmm. So that's what I experienced inside of the corporate world. Now, as far as friendships, I've had best friends sleep with one of my partners.
Oh,
yeah. She said, "Let me drink to that."
Hold up, wait a minute.
Drinking to that. I've had best friends sleep with one of my partners. All right, cheers to that. So I've experienced that I've experienced having a group of Black female friends, and one day one person decides that they no longer like you and you're the black sheep kicked to the curb. Everyone has something bad to say about you. I've experienced that. Like when I say I've experienced it all, the stereotypical people saying like Black women are messy. Black women are always angry. Black women are always upset. Black women don't know how to love. Black women. I've experienced majority of those stereotypes. The first time I ever got pulled over by a police officer, it was a Black woman. And she was absolutely rude and mean. I'll never forget it. I was 16 years old driving at 5 o'clock in the morning. And this woman was like, "What are you doing on this side of town?" Primarily white side of town. And I wanted to look at her and be like, what you doing on this? You mean we both black? Like, did you think? So, and I was like, well, I'm getting ready to go babysit in this, particular area. And she was like, let me see your driver's license. Like I said, I was 16 at the time, had just got it. I was good to go. She was like, And like, she just rolled her eyes at me and was like, let me go scan this to me. I was like, girl, what is your problem? So I was like, okay, wow. Angry black woman. Like, it was bad.
Okay, so, all right, so let me do my auntie thing. First of all, everybody ain't your friend. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that real quick. Yeah. And I have to wonder if social media impacts a little bit of that, because we use friends when we connect with people. It's like, everybody ain't your friend, so cut that out, right? Yeah. Which is why I have boxes. I got associates, I have strangers off the street, colleagues. Like, they are labeled. They have labels, and they stay in that box.
I was gonna say, can I tell you the way I think about it now? Now, as a 26-year-old evolved. Because when the friend situation happened, I was 21, 22. So I'm like, yeah, okay. But now as I'm about to turn 26, I see my life as a business now. So, you got the CEO, the COO, CFO, you got the top dogs, everybody at the top. Then you got the people that are part of the main floor. They work in the call center. So, y'all, you go down, you say, hey, what's up? Y'all cool, that's the associates. But then you got the people that's on tier 2. And they cool. You like, we can go out, we can chill, I can see you outside of work. But then you got the BFFs. And that's a small little office in a corner. Yeah. But then you got the associates, the ones that the high and by people. That's the people standing outside waiting for an interview. They trying to get in the club. They can't get in. They trying to get in. So that's how I do friendships now. I see it as it's levels, and it's my life is a business, and everybody that's hired can be fired.
You can. You most certainly can. When I think about the angry black woman, if you consider it, we have every right to be angry. Mm-hmm. Every right to be angry. You don't have to be, though. Yes, and keep in mind that, in my opinion, sometimes society likes to shift blame. So when people are behaving badly and doing things they should not do, you make the person who is in the right feel as if they have no right to feel the way they feel, to hold them accountable. So you do you're a little aggressive, or you're just a little animated. It's like cut it out. Like, it's gaslighting.
Correct.
It's gaslighting. It's like, no, you can go ahead and keep that, because I'm not buying that brand. No, I'm not that Negro. So go on back with something else. You have to come with something stronger. No. So I get what you're saying there. That's like, for me, I mean,
I know that it's not all black women. I would never put all black women all into a category like that. But I will say, as a 15-year-old, majority of my experiences, I'm gonna say, with older black women, were always met with aggression.
It's a very good chance. Yeah, I mean, depending on the program, and depending on what they have to come from. Like, people who have always fought for something, in my opinion, are always fighting, no matter what the day is.
Yeah, it's a fight or flight mode.
Right. They are always in fight or flight mode. And you got to tell them, you don't have to keep fighting here, kid. Like, it's okay. Because, I mean, but and I will say this, I've seen it both in men and women. Because when we were working together, when we expanded our management team, there were some people who were like in the power play mode. And they're like, but you've been here the longest. You don't want to. I was like, first of all, whatever is meant for me, I got it. So do what you got to do.
Correct.
I don't want whatever little power you fighting for. I don't need it. I'm good.
Right. I don't need it.
I'm like, are you sure? Because
I'm secure where I'm at. That's
right.
When you're secure with where you're at and who you are, you don't have to fight for power because nobody else can take it from you. That's the difference.
That's the difference. Yeah, I have seen that in both men and women. There is a lack of confidence there. And as you said, security. So I've seen some people do some stuff, but in terms of opportunities, I think for women as a whole, there's so many more for us, depending on how this election turns out, because they trying to do some Handmaid's Tale type shit out here.
No, they're really trying to push that box. Like, get back inside your box.
Man,
be in your box, and it's like, okay, hold on. We don't want to live in a box.
No.
Some people want to live in triangles, circles, rectangles. We all want to do our own damn thing.
Yes. People are ready for, if you will, people are ready for freedom. And there are so many stories that can be told that there's a number of persons who are willing to burn that old program and say, I don't have to subscribe to that, and I'm not subscribing to it, which is where we are. And then again, Black women, we don't have to listen to that. We don't have to listen to it. I don't listen to it. I don't subscribe to that.
We are the reason, like, we can make our own narrative, like, continue to push your own narrative, be your own person, just the opportunities that come to you. Because yes, like I said, I feel like some of the opportunities are a facade, but if the opportunity comes, continue to fight, be 10 times better, work 10 times harder, and it'll last you 10 times longer. I can tell you that.
I agree. Oh my goodness. Thank you for making this work. And for everybody who tuned in. I was like, is that just me or is that a glitch? It's a glitch. Okay. It was like this blip, and I thought the lights just flickered. That's not good. That's not good. But at least they came right back. So we want to thank you, Raine Love, for giving us your time and your thoughts. There's clearly a few more conversations in there. We may have to bring something else back. Clearly a few more. I do want to remind everybody that next week, I'm going to get my confetti because we are going to do a birthday party. We're going to make it virtual. And it is 49. Is that you? I haven't done confetti in like a while because the last time I did it. Now, again, I keep my popper ready. I'm ready. But I want the big confetti gun because that's how I like to roll. So I'm going to get my confetti gun and be ready, put my little deal up back here, have all of my little decorations so that I am ready for next week. It is, of course, TGIFF. We'll be live very soon, like about 30 minutes. We're going to be live on Indie Suit Media with Ladies Listen Up. Nope, take it back. It'll be Girl Listen first. We're talking about aging. We're talking about aging tonight. And then at 7:30, it will be Ladies Listen Up. So we definitely will invite you all to come over and to stay up to date on what's happening. You can get on the GRH Jack email list. You can go to grhjack.com. I don't email people a lot. Probably because I don't have that kind of time. And I want to keep the inboxes organized as well. So that part is there. Oh, we did have a poll. Let me see if I can check out the poll. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see if I can check out the poll. We ended up with it says, should folks who want a traditional life have their own dating site? We ended up with 50% yes and 25% no, 25% maybe.
Oh,
so, yeah. No, I mean, they have a dating site for everything else. Why not get your own spot and do what you got to do? You got to worry about nothing. That's how I say.
Correct. I agree.
Right? All right, everybody. So we'll be back next week. I'm feeling pretty good. I've been sipping on something, so that's probably why I'm feeling pretty good.
Same here. I stay the same.
Feeling pretty good right now. So let me do some going out music, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you for watching another episode of Girl, Listen. Be sure to tune in every other Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we also invite you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.